This is Mr. Ross, and with me I have a special guest. He is Daniel Wright. He is one of the co-owners, I believe, of Wright Choice Construction.
Yes, sir. Wright Choice Construction.
All right. So, Daniel, could you tell me just about your company and what it does?
Yes, sir. So we are a residential builder and remodeler. We've done a lot of remodeling in the past. We've kind of shifted more as of late, following the economy, following wherever the money is, and we've shifted to house building. So we build all custom homes. We don't do any spec homes right at the moment. And that's just because you wanna watch the economy, and right now we're in a bubble. It's going to crash. I'll wait until the next crash comes and we start climbing again before I get into spec homes again, just because my father actually is a class A contractor, and back in 2008 he had 5 spec homes on the market right when the crash hit. It almost took him out. So you just got to be careful for that. But so we just do residential custom homes. We try and build about 5 to 6 homes a year, and anywhere from 1,200 all the way up to 3,500 square foot, just depending on whatever the customer wants. And obviously, the more elaborate the home, the less we can do a year. And we're a small crew. We don't have a lot of employees. We're real tight knit. We've had as many as 8 or 9 employees, but we found that we had ended up having more issues with more employees, so we cut back. And now it's me, I'm the owner, and then I have 2 full-time employees, and we get just the same done with us 3 than we did having all the employees, and a whole lot less issues and problems, and in the end, more profit. So that's the end goal. Of course, if we can find quality guys, we'll take on as many as we can take, as long as they're quality. It's just trying to find good help is hard to come by. Good, motivated help, people with a work ethic and that learn decently well. So yeah, that's what we do, and been doing it for a long time.
So describe that culture of your crew. It's
Yeah,
kind of like the family dynamic. So what are you looking for? What would mesh with you guys?
yeah. So that's a big thing. Like you were saying, and we're definitely different than a lot of contractors, and so we have a lot more incentives to work for us, but we're way more particular about who we hire. We don't just hire anybody. If we do hire you and it doesn't work out, we let go a lot of people to find that right fit. And it's a balance. You have work ethic. That's absolutely number one. If you don't have a work ethic, I don't want you around me. You're going to drag us down and bring the morale of the team down. So work ethic, come in motivated, ready to work. I get it. Everybody has off days, but you got to be able to just come in and do your work hard. And so that's number one. And then number two is being able to learn. Um, some people just don't learn. And it's, I don't know where that comes from, but some people just can't pick up on things. Everybody learns differently. Some people are audible learners, hands-on, etc. So you have different kind of learning abilities, and this takes a hands-on learning capability. And so if that's not the way you learn, it might not be for you. So that's the second one. And then third, believe it or not, almost as important as the other two, would be just a personality that gets along with other people. We don't want a rotten egg. We don't want someone to bring down the morale of the team. We're really tight knit. We do we do get-togethers, and we do company cookouts, and we're just really tight knit. We all go work out in the gym in the morning and stuff. So we're just real tight knit, and that helps make that job enjoyable. It's that family feel, that brotherhood, kind of the same reason you join the military, to have that kind of that brotherhood of family. And we're actually, everybody working right now is veterans or actively serving in the National Guard or something like that, which also helps bring something to the table that, to bring us together and have that common ground. But definitely having an attitude and a personality that can get along with others, and not bring the environment down. That's huge.
Mm. I think it's awesome when you can find a crew that's very team orientated and you just work together well. I tell the kids, I'm like, there's enough jobs out there. If you're miserable at your job, the environment's terrible. Go find one that's not. Like, find that crew that you click with, and you can just enjoy your day.
Yeah.
There.
And I couldn't agree more. I mean, work is much of your life, even more so, it's the big part of your life. So if you're not enjoying your job truly, and then you're gonna be miserable your whole life. And a lot of people, and I know for especially for younger kids and stuff growing up, you think, man, what job pays the most? Oh, I want to go be an anesthesiologist, or whatever. So, and they get into these fields, and you have people that, but they don't push through because they don't have that desire, that motivation deep down. They're money driven, and there's nothing wrong with wanting a good paying job, but you'll make good at whatever you truly enjoy. If you really have a passion for it, you're gonna do fine. You'll make a career out of it. And that, I think, is the most important part of picking a job on their side, is finding a place that they truly enjoy going to work, not going in and being miserable every day. That's that shouldn't be the job you show up to.
Mhm. Are you guys located? You're right down. You drive past through Forest, past the high school and everything. Keep going down. That's you guys, right?
Right there on the left, little red house. Yep,
Yeah. Every
that's
time I feel like it's expanding. You guys keep growing. It's been fun to watch.
yeah. Believe it or not, that's not even our shop. That's my personal home. And like I said, we're a smaller business. I mean, we've only been in business maybe coming up on 4 years now. So we're a younger company. I actually work for my dad. Like I was saying, he's a Class A contractor. He lives right up the road from me. And I'm one of 5 boys in my family, and I got 3 sisters. So he had all of us working for him at one point. Give and take times, we all kind of branched out to do our own things. And so when I got back from the military, and my brother got back from the military at the same time, he had a bigger crew than he really wanted at the time being. And so I had been thinking of the idea of branching out on my own and all. And so my dad said I could go ahead and branch out, but I had to take my older brother with me, which worked out great because me and him mesh, but him and dad kind of butt heads. So it worked out really good. And so we kind of branched out. We're doing our own thing. And like I said, we started off smaller. I'd built a lot of houses with dad, but I started off smaller. Heck, when I first got out of the military, I went to 150 doors in a day and just knock on doors and say, hey, what do you need? I'll do whatever you need by the hour, and I'll help you out. And it's funny, I had, for probably 3 years after that, I had people still calling me from that first week when I went out just to drum up work, because that's what it takes. If you're not self-motivated, if you're not willing to do what it takes to push forward, then you're going to be a 9 to 5er. And there's nothing wrong with that. My brother, he works for me, and he's a 9 to 5er, and he loves it. He knows that, and he does really, really well at that. He makes great money, and he enjoys his job, and he doesn't want the extra headache or the extra responsibility that comes with being the boss. you know and he's fine with where he's at. But if you have that drive, if you have that motivation to be your own boss, you can make more money, but it does come at with those extra headaches, those extra potential liabilities, and stresses and stuff like that. So just depends what type of person you are.
Yeah. So could you describe your role at the company? Are you the big
I
cheese
am the
top dog?
sole owner. Yeah, I'm the sole owner of the company. And being owner has its days that are great. And that was the thing. When we had a lot of employees, I noticed all I was doing is sitting in the office, doing paperwork, going out and doing estimates, stuff like that. And I hated that part of it. I love getting in and working with my hands. It's awesome. I don't get enough time to do that. So when we slimmed it back down to a smaller crew, now I'm on the job. I get up at 4, I go work out with my brother, and then we go to work. We're on the job at 7. We leave at 5 o'clock. That's Monday through Friday, rain or shine, snow, whatever. It don't matter. We work through it. That's the one thing that we do try and set ourselves apart from other contractors and other construction companies is we guarantee 5 days a week, which is, because people that have bills, I mean, it's hard to, plan your life around jobs where I know a lot of my contractor friends and there's nothing wrong with it. But, they're like, oh, if it's raining, they're off. So you might be off a week or two and you might have a day or two work here and there. And I don't think anybody should, you know, that's not going to draw in a good crowd of potential employees. You're going to kind of get whatever's left over at that point.
So are you still have the tool bags on as the owner?
Yeah, actually, if you look behind me, I'm on the job site right now. We're building a house out here in Bedford, and I just jumped in the truck, which of course the guys aren't fond of that, but
I'm sure they'll tease you about it.
Oh yeah, he was like, "Really? Thanks for the help, man." Because I had just gotten off the long Zoom meeting and then jumped back in went out there for a little bit and then jumped back in the truck to get back on Zoom. But that's part of the boss duties.
Yeah. So what did your career path look like? You said you worked with your dad, and you're also a veteran. So how did those work together to get you to where you are now?
Yeah. So, I was actually homeschooled, and I'm grateful for that because it got me started earlier. And so my dad would take us on the job, me and my younger brother, Joshua, and he lives right here in Bedford. And he owns his own construction company. And me and my younger brother, Josh, we were framing up houses. I was 12 and he was 10. And dad would leave us on the job and we'd frame them up. We couldn't do the whole thing, but we frame up interior walls and different things like that. And so we started young, and had a lot of experience. And then, of course, I broke off and went to the military, did my time there, and then I came back home and picked up where I left off. And then after working with dad for a little while, then I ended up branching out on my own. And I held a little brief job here and there as a bus boy and stuff a restaurant, but nothing for a very long time.
What branch of military were you like mechanical at all in the military, or what was your duty?
Nope, I was just a good old grunt. So I was infantry, 11 Bravo in the Army. I was stationed up there at Fort Myer next to Pentagon. We did the funerals and retirement ceremonies, stuff like that. Really had no part at all in. I guess the only benefits I got from the military that transfer over to the job I do now is I've gotten a lot better at dealing with a-holes. So that's about it.
I believe it. All right. So what is your favorite part of the trade?
Well, the paycheck is the favorite part, right? I mean, that you'd be lying if you said it wasn't. But I love getting to meet with customers. Customers are really a two-edged sword. They're your favorite part and they're your least favorite part. They're the people that call you in the middle of the night, text you all the time, drive you insane. Something goes a little south and now they're wanting to sue you, and then you have a good day and they're baking you cookies. So it's just like, it's so up and down. People are crazy. You're going to deal with all sorts of awesome people and terrible people. And that's just part of it. You learn to read some and you learn to find the ones to kind of avoid and steer away from, but that takes time. And you're not always right. Some of the customers I thought would absolutely be the worst customers in the world turned out to be great. And so that was, you don't always know for sure. But I think probably my favorite part of the actual like job itself, other than like customers or paperwork, or well, paperwork's never my favorite part, but getting out there and framing is definitely the most fun part of the job, because you get a lot done quick. It goes up quick. It looks great. It's fun. You step back at the end of the day, and now you have 4 walls and you got a roof system on it. So you see your progress really, really well. As per, some of the other parts, you might not see it for longer. If you're doing groundwork or something like that, you don't, at the end of the day, it's still a mud hole.
Yeah, I agree. So I think, like you said, the customers, I tell the students they're dream builders. Like somebody has a dream and you get to bring that to reality. I just think that's so cool that all they get to see is a picture, but you get to make that picture for them. And then when you
which,
see them light up afterwards, it's awesome.
yeah, but the thing is, sometimes they're not going to light up. Sometimes they're gonna cuss you out and think the worst thing of you, because some people's dreams are bigger than reality, and they might have this vision that everything's going to go a certain way, and that's just not reality. That's not how things look in real life. You look at, it's the same thing with how people use filters for their pictures. They sell this fake product and people expect that, but it's not reality. There is no such thing as that. And that's the same thing with construction. People watch HGTV and they install flip it and this and that, and they think that's how it works, and that's not how it works. And that's not, and a lot of people, they live on a beer budget, but they have wine taste. They want the $1 million house, but they want to pay $150,000. And I'm like, that's great, I do too, but that's just not how it works. So, sometimes you have to break that reality to them. And so, yes, you do have your customers that are very down to earth and they have a good grasp of what things cost, how things should turn out. And they're the ones that are really pleased when they're done. I think the quickest thing you learn and the most fundamental thing you can learn doing it on your own is customers. Usually 90% of your customers are either going to be happy or upset, and that does not change from day one. They've either made it up in their mind that they're going to be a happy person or they're going to be an upset person. Rarely do you have someone that's a happy person start out happy and turn south. That's just, people are either going to be satisfied or not. You have your customers that it doesn't matter what you do. You can bend over backwards. You can do everything perfect. It doesn't matter. They're going to be upset. That's just how it is. So, you do what you got to do and you move on.
So this might lead into that. So what's your least favorite part of being in a trade?
Definitely customers.
So the best part and the worst part.
Great, best and worst part. I'm telling you what. And if you do it for even a short amount of time, you find that out really quickly. Your customers are your best and your absolute worst part of the job. But other than customers, cold days suck. Cold, rainy days suck worse. And when it's snowing and it's 20 degrees outside, it sucks. At 7 in the morning, that is just miserable. You're wet, you're freezing. But those are the days that you push through, show your perseverance, get in there, do what you need to do and get out. Those are the ones that make or break a person, really.
All right. So what's some advice would you give to just high school students? Maybe thinking about a trade, maybe not, but just coming out of high school.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's I have talked to plenty of high schoolers, and the one thing I tell them, I say, look, unless you're very passionate, you have something you absolutely need college for, don't waste your money and time in it. Don't waste your money and time in it. I feel bad saying that because I feel like I'm fighting a tidal wave of people that come from the other spectrum saying, college, got to have college. Don't go unless you're passionate about it and you need that for a career. Please, if you're going to be a doctor, please go to college. I don't want you trying out on me. But, with trades and stuff, get out in the field, try it out. You have some colleges that do like teach you some basics on the tools and stuff like that. And we actually had an employee that came from one of those, and he did like a 2-year trade school thing, and it was awesome. He came out great. He knew some stuff, but he learned almost more than 75% of what he knew when after a couple years working in the field. He told me, he said, most everything I know I learned in the field. He said, I learned some cool things in the classroom, but at least 75% of it he learned in the field. So then that's 2 years of income he could have been making that he put into time in school. So, if you find a good employer, and that's the big thing too, depending on your employer. We had him and he worked for a different company, and he said he learned very little there because the employer didn't have time to teach him, didn't want to teach him. He just wanted to grunt. So he was just sitting there stagnant. And then, what we try and do is we're real tight knit. We're real careful about who we pick. But if we do pick someone and we do want them to come work for us, we're very aggressive about, paying them accordingly, and teaching them so they can make more money and they're interested in staying. If you don't teach someone, then they're not going to be worth more money and you won't want to give them a raise, and then they won't want to stay with you because they're not making anything. There's no reason that construction should not be, a career. It's not a McDonald's job. It's not there for you for high school and college. It should be a career. There's great jobs in construction, all sorts of construction, all sorts of the trade. If you get into general construction, depending who your employer is, and this depends a lot on that, and there's so many different contractors out there, depending who you get under, you might get a contractor that knows electrical, HVAC, plumbing, etc. And so you might learn a whole lot more under that person, or you might get a contractor that is job specific, where like a tiling contractor, for instance, and you might just learn tiling, which there's nothing wrong with that. But the more you can learn, the broader you can, push your knowledge base, the more valuable you will be in the long run, and the more money you will make in return. And it gives you a good chance to kind of feel it out and see what you enjoy.
So what are the first skills you think they should learn? Try to focus on learning.
So that's so job specific, really. I mean, if they have a general rule, like, okay, well, I was thinking about it, and there's one pet peeve that is super annoying that you could teach them that will save them so much issues down the road. Teach them how to read a tape measure. So many people are so bad at reading a tape measure, and they're over here, counting sixteenths to get up there. And, I'm like, golly, man, I get it. We have a bad measurement system, but they need to learn it, and that'll save them no matter what you get. That's just a good life knowledge. Learn how to read a tape measure. It'll go a long ways. Some basic principles of that's perfect classroom stuff, angles and measurements and stuff like that. How to use some of your basic tools and not destroy them, and push safety. I don't know why we have a lot of these people that don't want to wear any of their safety equipment, and I'm like, that's something we don't tolerate. You got to wear your safety equipment and all. So those are some basic things. I'm not even talking like real skill sets. I'm not, and honestly, in this field, you don't need to come with a particular set of skill sets per se. I mean, I'm not going to say it's all that bad, but it's a two-edged sword again. If they're highly trained by one person and you do it a totally different way, it can become a thing of button heads. And for me personally, I prefer to train the person we'll work with the way I want them to know how to do it, how we work, and I want them to know, that way instead of the other way they used to do it or whatever. I'm open to new ideas, but it just tends to be easier for us to train our own guy. For us in particular, we invest in our people. We plan on someone staying with us for 20 to 40 years, not a year or two. That's not what that's why we're particular about that's the first question I'll ask any person that comes to work with us. Are you at least open to the idea of working for us for the next 30 to 40 years? If you're not, go find someone else. There's plenty of other people that'll give you that summer job. But for the time and effort I'll put into you, I need something in return, at least to be open to it. I'm not requiring you to. Obviously, I can't, but I would like you to at least be open to the idea.
Awesome. So if one of our students was interested in working for you, what would be the best way to contact you? Are you really looking for workers, or what's their best route to you?
Yeah, I'm very particular about who we hire. I'm very, very particular, more particular than probably any other contractor that I know. Just because I'm looking for that person I can pay a lot of money, but I want a lot in return. I want somebody that'll stick it out, and I'm not asking for them to come with a huge knowledge base. I'm not asking for that. I'm just asking for a good work ethic. You got to be able to get up bright and early. You got to be able to suck it up when it's a cold day. You got to be able to suck it up and just move on and, come prepared. we don't even break off for lunch. We work 10-hour days, so that's a lot for some people. And we like to get on the job and we like to stay focused. So we tell people to bring their own lunch. We don't go up the road to lunch. These contractors that get here at 9, pack up at 10, go take lunch, come back at 2, and off the job at 4. I'm like, that's not a work day. So we're looking for someone motivated that wants to make a career out of it, learn a whole lot, and make good money. Make good money. There's plenty of money to be made. Like I said earlier, in the other meeting is, we are a licensed um, Class A contractor. We're also a master plumber, master electrician. So we do 90% of our work from the ground up on a house ourselves. We do the ground prep work. We do the in-ground slab plumbing. We do all the framing, the electrical, the plumbing, the flooring, the doors, trim work, the roofing, the siding, all of it from ground up. So you get to learn. I mean, essentially, if you work with us for probably 5 to 8 years, depending on how fast you pick up on things, you could go out and build your own house easily, and there's no reason you should. That's how involved we are with teaching you how to do it and to making sure you retain that knowledge. And also, we do that. That's all we do every day, ground up, foundation to roof. So then you have a huge knowledge base. And then if you particularly like electrical or plumbing or whatever, then you can hone in that skill, but you get such a broad spectrum. So, we're looking for someone motivated, highly motivated, got to have a ride. We're not coming out there and picking people up. So you got to be able to drive your own vehicle, and just the open mindedness of making it a career. Now, if they're a super self motivated person, then I'm all for putting them into a leadership position and getting them started where they will have their own guys to manage it all. So we have positions for everybody where they're at, based on their personalities. And then of course, you have some super motivated people that want to go start their own companies. And this is also a great opportunity for them because they can work for us for, whatever, 20 years, have everything they need to do and know to start their own company and branch out. And I'm not opposed to that. I'm fine. My dad was famous for saying there is no such thing as competition. We're all in this together. You want to work together to better the reputation of contractors across the board. You don't want to try and treat other contractors as competition and put them down or, backhand them. It's just not right. So, we're fine with teaching someone to in the mindset of them going out starting their own thing. That's no problem. But yeah, just motivation, a good ride. We do drug tests, so they got to be able to pass the drug test and stay clean. That's just, we're huge on honesty, because we entrust a whole lot of money into these people. Our guys, they drive their own brand new truck home every day, to and from work. They got their own tools set up. We have a lot of perks. And so, with those perks comes a lot of trust. If you break the trust, that's a one and done. I tell people there's a lot of things that, we'll give second or third chances on. But if you lie and you get caught in a lie, that's a one and done. Be honest. Just be honest. If you screw something up, that's fine. Just be honest about it. Don't start lying about that stuff, because honesty and that trust is what these small companies like this run off of, because all it takes is one bad egg to really bring down a company.
I think it's awesome that you brought that up. Our class theme that's up above my chalkboards, but it's show up, work hard, be honest. Lots of times the students kind of look at me when I say, what's the honest part? Exactly. Yeah. That's why these companies are trusting you. They want you to own up because they want you to do your best and they want to be able to trust you. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed this interview. Are there any closing remarks that you have?
Well, the thing is, going back to, the point of earlier when I was talking about making it a career, people don't realize the money. Truly, they don't realize the money involved in these careers. I know so many contractors that make anywhere from $200,000 to $500,000 a year. Now, you tell me where you make that in any other field across the board. I mean, you're talking anesthesiologists don't even make that, and that's like the most high high paid, medical professional there are, unless you're getting into like somebody that leadership. Now, granted, that I'm talking about, it takes a certain kind of person to make that, and they have to be willing to take a lot of risk, and more risk equals more reward. But still, that's, you're talking a huge salary, a lot of money that you can make. And but even on the employee side, if you get in with the right company, if you get in there with the right company, you have great advancement opportunities. And you got to be careful, because some companies will start you higher, but you stay stagnant. And so, like, for instance, when BWXT was talking, and they were talking about their rates, they have really good rates, but you're stuck at that rate, which isn't a bad rate, but you're stuck at that rate, and it takes a lot longer to advance and go up. Whereas a company like ours, we start most people off low to see where they're at, but within a year or two, we've doubled their salary already. And it just depends on the person. And like I said, we have employees that are clearing almost $75,000 a year as an employee, 7 to 5, without all the responsibility and the headache of owning anything. And by the end of the time, in another 10, 15 years, they'll be over $100,000 a year. That's a career right there. So it's definitely a career choice. Don't write it off just because you have this perception of, oh, they make nothing. And granted, if you get in with the wrong company and you're just shoveling dirt, yeah, you're probably going to be stuck at $25,000 a year for as long as you stay there. It just depends. You got to find a good company, got to get in with them, and if they're a good company, they'll let you make whatever you want to make, essentially.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Daniel.